Forget all your sorrows, tomorrow's better than it seems. There's something magical about a parade.
But it all started from a daddy with two daughters wondering where he could take them, where he could have a little fun with them too.
Hello and welcome back to Off Harbor in Maine. I'm Joel Covey, and I'm joined by my close friends to discuss Disney theme parks and more. I'm joined by Beth.
We're back, baby!
Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And Derick.
Hey, good to be back.
And today on episode 24, we play catch-up from being away from the mic for a while and discuss some recent theme park visits, some of the latest happenings, and just hang out a little bit. But first, let's go around our virtual Tropical and I to say hi to my co-host and hear what everyone is drinking today. So Beth, what do you have over there tonight?
Okay, today, look at this drink. I'm going to show it to you right here.
Ooh,
I have
of course, Beth has a fancy drink.
Yes, I do. So it's from my shaker and spoon box. It's called the Sea Fog. And I had to bring my ingredients because I cannot remember what was in it. It's nori-infused rum, which I infused myself, guys. This is the bartender I am now. I'm infusing my own rums. A honey ginger syrup, liquid smoke, which is very interesting, tobacco bitters, a yuzu soda, and then it's just garnished with a little bit of nori and candied ginger. It is so good. It is my favorite from this rum box that we've had. It does not taste anything like I thought it would taste. It literally reminds me of ocean and a bonfire, but in the best way. It's so good.
And it has that perfect orange yellowish tone to it. It just looks nice and tropical.
It's so good. It's so refreshing. I was worried that the nori-infused rum would be a little overpowering, it would just taste like I was drinking sushi, but it doesn't at all. It's very light.
What does it taste like? I'm really curious.
Well, you have a box, and
you already infused it for too long, didn't you?
Yeah,
for way too long, so mine might taste a little bit more like
yours might be a little sushi-ish, but
sushi-ish?
Sushi-ish.
She should. What are you drinking, Matt?
So I finally found the Kona Spiked Island seltzers. We got them at work a while back, but they kept selling out. So I finally snagged one today. And this one is the tropical plunge flavor. I know I said that weird. I said plunge.
The plunge?
Because I've already had the Pog flavored one.
So good.
Oh,
it was good. This one's good too. Yeah. I like it.
Real quick, can we talk about your shirt? Just because I love that shirt. You got one too, right, Beth? This
I did get one.
Shirt.
Yeah, if I had known Matt was going to wear it, we could have been twinsies today. Yeah. But
shout out to Mouse Info. It's a Paradise Pier simple shirt. Says it just says Paradise Pier with a sunset, and it's California. And I think it says on the bottom, right, fun of the sun forever. So in case you didn't know, there used to be some neon that was up against where Midway Mania is now, and for everyone, part of the sign went out for a really long time, so it just said forever. Unfortunately, it wasn't forever because it's not Paradise Pier.
Pour one out for Paradise Pier.
But I just want to throw it out because it's a good shirt. I need to get myself. We all should get one.
We should all get one.
Be a gang.
We're a big Paradise Pier
purists.
Yeah,
we're a bunch of PP purists.
Oh my god.
Well, that could still be relevant for.
It is still relevant now. You got to spell it out because we don't like the current PP. Derick, what do you have over there?
We like the old PP.
Yeah, I like the older PPs.
Yeah, I'm down with OPP.
It is more majestic.
Well, so I am also enjoying the shaker and spoon boxes like Beth. Although I had to put a little bit of a pause to it because, I'm diabetic, so I figured it's probably not a good idea that I'm...
Says the guy who devoured an entire fun bun by
I know, yeah,
he's getting the $20 one.
my skeletons. But anyway, so I'm not doing the Sea Fog one tonight. I'm doing a different one called Don't Tell Richard. I tweeted about this one. And I also brought my ingredients card, Beth. So this one...
You gotta be prepared.
Yeah, this one has rum, of course, because it's a rum box. But it's also including coconut cold brew. And this is actually cool, too, because we had to, well, not infuse, but brew our own cold brew with coconut milk. And so it actually has a nice
Coconut water.
Coconut water. Same difference. Coconut water in the cold brew. So this coconut cold brew. It also comes with Mabi syrup. I did not know what Mabi syrup was. I had to Google it. It's actually kind of like a root beer. I guess like a Caribbean style sugar from a bark. But it tastes really nice. It's sweet, but it complements the cold brew really well. It also comes with Angostura bitters, and then it's garnished with this fancy orange wheel and banana chips. So it's very tropical, Caribbean, very refreshing, but it has like those, nice notes of coffee in it. So kind of fancy, but tastes good. I'm enjoying it.
I guess I should sign up for this.
You should. I'm surprised you haven't, honestly.
It's money,
Yeah, I'm too cheap.
I have so many like extra bitters now that I could use to make any other drink that I just would not have this like a pimento bitter. I would never think to have a pimento bitter on hand, but I've got
That's the
spare
only thing
now.
that has some type of alcohol in it that comes with it, right? Because it's just
It's just all the ingredients minus,
yeah.
So I did feel like the boxes do come with a little bit too much for my taste, but I discovered, Beth recommended that you can actually order like 1 or 2 drinks at a time if you're not really feeling a whole box subscription. So I think I might try that, see how that works out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So what are you drinking, Joel?
Well, I decided, I posted about this on Twitter earlier this week too. I just randomly had this bourbon peach smash. I just had the ingredients and it sounded good. It's simple and it's bourbon based, and those that listen to this podcast regularly probably understand that I like bourbon a lot, but it's just bourbon with some peach. It just is peach juice, but I had a peach lemonade on hand and fresh squeezed lemon, and I had and soda, and that's really it. And I had it was a pineapple soda. I forgot the brand. I'm sure if I talk about it long enough, Matt would know what it is. But it's a pineapple soda. It's just a flavored sparkling water, and it's excellent. And
it sounds very refreshing, like Southern refreshing.
It's very light.
Like you might have it at the horse races.
Exactly. I need a hat.
Yeah,
fancy hat.
Can't go wrong with peach.
Yeah. Well, with that, everyone, I'm excited to say cheers.
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 Episode
guys.
24.
Oh, that's good. Well, I did want to start off with just saying to everybody, thanks for your patience for those that are returning listeners, because it's been so long since we've been able to sit down and really have another record session.
It's been crazy.
Yes. I mean, a lot has happened since our last episode, and since then I've moved. Of course, I have the boys too, so it's been a little tough to even move. The parks have reopened since our last time we spoke.
Yeah.
And
Everyone's vaccinated now.
we're all vaccinated. My
Yes.
household is vaccinated,
So
except for the
exciting.
boys. No, they're not there yet, but
Not yet.
hopefully the newborns can get it too. But
You couldn't pass them off at 16?
yeah, we're 12.
We're
now.
12
Oh,
these
yeah,
days.
12, that's
yeah.
right. Oh, no problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so much has happened, and there's just so much that we would want to talk about. And where, typically we try to have a theme or some type of history to talk about, where this one, we just wanted to catch up with each other, talk about some of the things we've been doing, talk about some of the happenings that are happening at the parks, not just at Disney, because it's really starting to return to normal. For some, I know that's still very scary, but it is exciting to see, as capacity limits increase, where you can have more people actually inside or on a ride, and you don't have lines that are going to be going from one land to another land.
Through the lands, yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting to see. But I mean, I know we're not quite there yet for everybody to feel comfortable, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But hey, it's pretty exciting. And to think this is actually kind of our 1-year anniversary show.
I
though
know.
It's beyond 1 year since
I can't believe it, though.
Happy
How
anniversary.
crazy. Yeah, happy anniversary, guys. We did it.
we did it.
We did it
And
in
look-
the middle of
Did
a
it.
pandemic.
We are at episode 24. A year later, we are definitely bi-monthly.
Definitely bi-monthly crew. Hey, we're almost like truly every 2 weeks.
Bi-weekly,
if you-
yeah.
bi-weekly, yeah. So I'm happy with that. That's better than I thought we were going to be doing. So
Wow, thanks for
proud
your
of
confidence,
ourselves.
Joel.
Yeah, sorry. Let's
A lot
be
of
real.
faith.
That was the plan all along.
But
It was Agatha.
It was Agatha,
Agatha.
all along.
But yeah, I didn't plan anything, of course, and there's no big surprise guests. I mean, Tony Baxter's coming on later, but besides that, no. Just
We all
kidding.
knew about that one,
Yeah.
so.
No guests or anything like that, but it's worth mentioning. It would have been May 10th. That was our first time, so it's well after that first year or the year anniversary. But
Did we record May 10th or we released it May 10th?
we released the first episode on May 10th,
Yeah. Okay.
so we recorded a little bit before then, probably that same week. And and it's just crazy to think it's been a year, and yet I still have not been to Disneyland.
None of us
None of us
have.
have.
None of us.
I mean, we've been to
Matt's
downtown
been the
Disney.
closest,
Yeah.
having been to Disney World, but
And you've been to
Well-
the DCA Taste event,
oh, that's true. I did go to the
maybe.
taste of
but you haven't been on any
touch,
attractions.
the touch. You just almost confused me. The touch of Disney. Don't do that to me, Joel.
I know, I corrected you so many
me
times.
every time. But yes, we did do that. So, but yeah, have not stepped foot yet into Disneyland.
But you have reservations. Derick has reservations.
Yes,
We'll talk
we're-
about them a little bit.
Yeah, well, I won't tell you about it now.
Yeah.
Wait,
That has
wait.
reservations.
You have
So many-
reservations to not go?
About spending money.
Well, we all did go to Knott's Berry Farm, though. And while
Together,
together,
Like,
it was our
that
first
was
time.
weird.
Si-
together.
we did rent out a movie theater. Which
Oh, we
was,
did.
What was it, $100? It was $100 for
100 bucks.
10 of
Total.
us or something like that.
Oh, such a good deal.
Yeah, so it was nothing. But it's a movie theater. It's like going on a date. Your first date at a movie. You
Derek kept on trying
Can't
to
talk
hold
with
my
each other.
hand. I was
I
like,
know.
Derek, my husband's here. Stop it.
I was so awkward
6
about
feet,
it.
Derick. So we didn't really get to talk with each other too much, just a little bit before and after. So it was nice. The Knott's Berry Farm trip, we were all vaccinated, so we could hug each other, and it was just really nice to see one another, and felt like old times, even though, of course, this was during a time where the masks were still very present and still very socially distant in there and very low capacity within the park. But, what do you guys think?
I have to tell you, I had a great time. You guys know that I was nervous anyways, just because I have not done very much throughout the whole pandemic. And so I was just nervous. And I also have not been to Knott's very often, so I just wasn't sure exactly how they were handling things and whatever. But I mean, despite the fact that it was raining when we got there,
Yeah.
no,
Random.
I had a great time, and I was so glad to be able to go with you guys. At the time when we were going, mask compliance was super high, and people were doing a good job of keeping it on. I only saw like one true jerk about it, but I felt good taking my kid there because everyone was wearing their masks, and it was a good time. I enjoyed riding on stuff with you guys again. It was fun.
And I think it's worth noting, if you're listening to this like right when this episode drops, as things are starting to change and be more lenient, I think it's getting really hard for people to be compliant with the mask situation. So it is sounding like there's a lot more people out of compliance or just blatantly not bothering with their mask. And it sounds like there's less employees really enforcing these rules. And it's not just at Knott's. It just seems like it's getting tough everywhere because of the new CDC guidelines and everything.
I can relate.
Yeah, and you can
Is it-
relate
is
the
it-
store, I'm sure.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
at that point where I'm just like,
do what you want.
yeah, I'm like,
What are you going to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Kick out everybody?
I got vaccinated. At
As
this
long as you're
point,
good
I'm
for
like,
yourself.
yeah, at this point, I'm like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stress out about it. You do you.
And it is going to be really tough. I know Beth has stressed how tough this is for her with her 5-year-old and,
Yeah.
not able to get vaccinated. And now people are going to be able to not wear a mask.
Exactly. Like I had plans. I'm like, oh, this summer I can finally take her to go do things. But without people wearing masks, it makes me feel a lot more apprehensive to do that because, yeah, she can still wear a mask. But as we all know, it's always a better protection when both people are wearing a mask. So, and I just don't trust unvaccinated people,
Yeah.
So
It's just,
that's just my opinion. But I just, I just don't really trust
we'll
people
take the hate mail. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't trust everyone, not everyone, because some people just can't get it yet for whatever reason. But people who have just decided not to, I just feel like they're not going to listen to the guidelines and they're going to go maskless regardless. So it just puts that extra stress and worry. And I'm hoping that September comes quickly, because hopefully that's when we'll be getting for younger children. So
that's what sucks, is it's still saying fall at the earliest, and it's just like, well, hopefully it's like September. Let's get it out, because they've been moving more quickly than we thought on pretty much everything. So hopefully they get out soon, because I want it even for my boys to feel more comfortable with taking them into large crowds.
Yeah, I mean, every time you step out into like a big group of people, there's just always that worry that, you just don't know what's going to happen. So it's just always that little bit of extra stress that I would prefer not to have.
Yeah. I mean, luckily though, I'm not going to be, at least for me personally, I'm not going to be in a lot of situations where I'm in such a large crowd all the time. But it is one of the things, and I know we'll get into that later, that I'm a little bit anxious about with Disneyland. But I mean, just going back to Knott's, I was surprisingly comfortable. Like I didn't know what to expect, but I felt so good there, so at ease. Like there wasn't a lot of crowds walking around. I know it was all like pass holders. But even like in the lines, I didn't feel like anyone was trying to like rub up in my space and get up all in there. And just riding the rides too felt really comfortable. That was one of the things I was, I've never been on a ride in over a year. And, what was that going to be like if I felt dirty or anything like that? But it didn't feel like that at all. But I would say like the best part of that was just being able to sit at a picnic table and just drink some beers with you all in
that
real
felt so
life.
natural.
Even though we were in Knott's Berry Farm, it was the most DCA I felt in a long time, because they had the same colored cups too. So I'm like,
Perfect.
having my beer, my tinted like green,
Thank
tinted
you for the
yellow
beer, by
cup.
the way. Joel bought me my beer.
Yes, I just bought a random beer, a second beer. I'm like, someone will take it.
Somebody will, and I was like, oh, I will have that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I still
You're
owe you
welcome.
one, Beth. You
I
bought
know,
me my margarita. and
You
I
owe me a
didn't tell.
non-spicy, watered down margarita.
Yeah, which was terrible. But,
It still was good because we were out enjoying it
Exactly.
together.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, for me, like it's like this trip to Knott's was exactly what I was expecting, because I've been to all of the the Knott's like festivals that they've been doing, and they've always had such a high like compliance level with everything that I already knew going into this. I was like, I don't have anything to worry about, because I already know what they've been doing, and they've been doing everything so well this entire time that there's no way that they could like fumble this, because you've already been doing it for almost a year.
It's been so smooth.
And your descriptions of the events and Joel's description of the events really is what helped me feel comfortable to go. Like hearing you guys talk about it and knowing that you had been and that you felt that it was really safe made me feel a lot better about going. So instead of just having anxiety for like the 2 weeks leading up to it, I was like excited for it.
And that's the thing. I think it's important to understand with Knott's now. I don't know how to stress this enough. I really feel like Knott's Berry Farm has stepped it up with their quality. Their all the employees seem to be fantastic. It's not like hey, I worked there in 2005. It's much different than from when I worked there in 2005. Not just from like park quality, but like even the employees I was working with at the time was pretty bad. It wasn't like
there did
best.
seem to have some real pride in their jobs. That what they were doing, whether it was attractions or food and beverage, or I stopped briefly in the store too. Everyone seemed super happy to be there, and it was nice. It was really nice.
Well, and like I would say too, I'm not saying it's like the pandemic that's the reason for it, but kudos to like their park operations, because I've never seen them dispatch things so fast in my entire life. Like I was impressed with how fast planes
everything
were
was
leaving.
moving really fast. Having been to Knott's before and just having rides take so long, even with the social distancing, they just did such a good job of keeping things moving.
Yeah, I mean, we rode
A bunch.
everything multiple times, and I cannot tell you the last time I went to Knott's and walked on to like accelerator, like literally got to the top of the, walked right into the train from the top of the station. Like that was probably like 2003 on like a March Wednesday.
yeah, and it's rainy and cold.
Yeah.
But
Like I was like
it is
insanely
important
impressed.
to note, hey, Ghost Rider had, I mean, we waited about 45 minutes, an hour maybe, and we did wait about an hour for Knott's Berry Tales, which we'll talk about too. But so there was a few long lines in the middle of the day, and of course, a lot of this doesn't really matter anymore because it's already changed. It's going to be increased limit capacity. Anybody goes again, I'm sure. It was incredible with, besides those really 2 rides, it was walk on for all the kid rides and Camp Stew before you, almost a walk on.
Yeah, we would wait like maybe 1 cycle and then get on. So that was great.
But
We
I
did
think
everything we wanted to do.
yeah, at the end of the night, getting about 2 hours before close, and this was an early close because we went on a Sunday, but it was so awesome that we could walk around. I'm like, we got it going. We don't really have time to do much more. And then we would walk by like Hang Time, which is an amazing ride, and there was literally nobody in line. And I'm like, well, how do we not go on?
Yeah,
that? Same with
there were
Accelerator.
there were like 2 people on the train that was going.
But it's important to note, this is what sets Knott's and like a Disney, apart from, let's say, a Six Flags. There was nobody in the park, yet they were still running 2 trains, so you were still able to load, and then wait for the next one to come. Like you didn't have to wait a cycle
For the whole cycle, yeah.
the whole cycle. Wait for them to unload and load. At Six Flags, they're not going to do that. I'm sorry. If it's that dead, they're going to have 1 train going. Yeah. So
Maybe even
kudos
half.
to their park
They'll take
ops.
half the back half off the train. They can wait extra.
I will say, like, I had the most fun I've had in a while on Ghost Rider. That was just like a few minutes of just pure joy.
I'm so
I
sorry for
forgot
crushing.
how
I
much
could not
fun.
move. I was like,
Oh, that was the
crushing
best
Derick.
part. Yeah, it was just so chaotic and crazy, but such the best time to ride it with. All of
I'm
you.
so happy that they took the time and like refurbished that entire ride, because before it closed, it was really bad. Like I swear to God, I thought I broke my wrist on that ride like before. And it's so good now. Like you just laugh and scream the entire time because it's just so good.
Scream in your heart, Matthew.
But if you have not been to Knott's Berry Farm and you're a local or semi-local and you still come down to Disneyland every so often, I think now's the time. Now is the time to consider going to Knott's Berry Farm.
If you're looking for a place to get an annual pass, if your main park refuses to give you one,
they need to capitalize on this because they can get a lot of people. But
seriously,
they're doing it with their 100th anniversary, and we'll talk about that too. But I'm bringing that up because Ghost Rider is my favorite wooden roller coaster of all time, and maybe one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. So it's just one of those things like you got to get down there and check it out because it's a lot of fun. It's wild the whole ride.
it's the wildest ride in the wilderness. Let's be
Is
honest.
It is a little bit more wild.
It is.
Let's talk about Knott's Berry Tales too. Is that the full name? Knott's Berry Tales? Is that all?
Knott's Berry Tales Return to the Fair.
Thank you. So I was pleasantly surprised at this, especially with what it replaced. Because
It was good. Like
I loved it.
It was super enjoyable. I loved the mix. I mean, I know everyone's like, no more screens, which I mean, I agree with, but they did a good mix of screens and like practical sets and everything. It was good.
This was like hear me out. This is like their Transformers on a Knott's level budget, like
there were some intense parts in there that I was like, that surprised me where I was like, oh, I was not expecting.
kind of scary at moments too.
I'll say we got stuck in the lightning tunnel and that was not fun.
That was not fun. I
we
did that
all
too,
did. I
would be
which was so
crying if I
weird
was a
because
kid.
we did not all. I rode separately. Well, about 10 minutes after you guys, my child had a bathroom emergency, so she had to go right then at the very end of the line. But so I rode about 10 minutes after you guys. We stopped there too. My only complaint, it's the same complaint I had when I first saw it, is that I hate the pole. And even I asked Logan after I'm like, how did you like? She's like, I loved it, but I don't. But I loved it, but I don't like it because I don't like. It hurt my hands, and I was like, yeah. And they are a little tough to pull. I just wish they had gone with like a button or something.
Well, the
but
previous guns were buttons, right, Matt?
They were, it was a trigger.
I mean, I get it because it's really cute. Like the design itself is super cute. So
Yeah,
I mean,
because it was like generic, like blaster looking thing. It was stupid.
yeah,
I'm sure they'll loosen up over time.
yeah, probably. I just preferred like pushing instead of like yanking on something
Tugging.
over and over.
I think
Anyways, it was really fun.
You can only go so long, right?
Yeah.
On yanking.
I feel like my only gripe, and it could be because, so keep in mind, there's no indoor queues right now. So inside the queue, there are like videos playing and like, I think like backstory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got on the ride and I'm like, what am I shooting?
Yeah.
Am I
I didn't know what I was
I'm like,
supposed to be.
I'm like,
aiming
do I
for.
shoot the pies? Do I shoot the foxes?
It
Or
was
do I
confusing.
shoot the
Yeah.
bears.
Yeah, it took me about half the ride to finally figure out what I was aiming for.
Yeah, I was like, and I finally was like, oh, this is what we do. I'm like,
Did you figure it out? I never
Yeah,
figured it out.
you're supposed to shoot the foxes, and if you see any pies, you're supposed to shoot the pies with the jam.
I
Because
knew
you're
the
collecting the pies.
pies for sure, but I wasn't sure about the animals. I'm like, aren't they all like cute, cuddly animals?
Only the
Friends.
foxes.
Because those are the ones that are trying to steal your stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of the animals, they had the walk around characters.
The characters
across
out there
Those were
waving. It
adorable.
was so cute.
so adorable.
Nice
and
touch.
like really like I hate to always compare to Disney, but Disney level characters. You know, they were very well done. They looked great. And yeah, it was really cute. A lot of people were excited to see them.
I do wish though that they had some sort of theme song.
It
I don't
does
know
have
if-
a theme song.
Does it? Because when
Yeah.
we rode, there wasn't any
There-
music at all. It was just like sound effects and the
No,
visuals,
there's
and
a-
I was like,
there's
oh,
a song.
missing something. So maybe
Can
I
you
don't
sing
know.
it for us, Matthew?
Yeah, what
I
is
can't.
it?
I can like hear it in my head, but I can't think of the words. If you
Or
go on YouTube,
just hum it. Just hum it.
well, now that you want me to hum it, like I can't even like think of it. But there is a theme song. It's the same one from the old ride.
Riding on the old Knott's Berry
Is it like remixed?
I think so. Yeah.
Did the rest of you all hear it?
I
don't
heard music.
remember,
I don't
honestly.
remember
It was really low though.
Huh,
Yeah, and I do find that happens a lot in these type of attractions where it's so
It was chaos.
sound
There's,
effects
like-
heavy. It is chaos. You're right, Beth. So
There's a lot of stuff happening at the same time. So
it's less story heavy, right? Because you're
Yeah.
shooting. It's pretty crazy.
it
but
was longer than I
beautiful.
expected it too.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, granted, we did get stopped for a minute or two in the Thunder Room, the Thunderdome, but it was longer than I expected it to be. Or maybe
was
my
Turner
hand just
came out.
hurt so much. I was like, oh, is it done yet? I don't know.
It was like the appropriate length where it's like, oh, this is over already. You know, it kept going in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I felt worthy of an hour-long wait and maybe even a little longer during normal times. And yeah, I was just really impressed. It was
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised for sure.
they cared what they were doing.
I'm surprised none of us have mentioned it yet though. But the smell.
Oh yeah. Oh, it smelled really
The
good.
whole ride smelled fantastic.
It did. Like fresh baked pies.
Made me want some jam.
Yeah.
You should just turn your gun around and shoot yourself in the face.
Wow.
Open your mouth.
Should have yanked yourself in the face.
And I think to be fair, the line was moving rather smoothly until it broke down, and so I think that kind of helped to delay, us actually getting on the ride on a decent time, because it was down for about like 15 minutes or so, right? Until
I couldn't really tell. I mean,
We
there was
were-
a
Yeah,
moment when we
it seemed to like keep going like the
Yeah.
whole time. I'm assuming people were like leaving the line for a little
at
bit,
that
but
point, yeah.
also shout out to the cast member who let me leave through the emergency
Yes.
exit stairs and then come back up the same stairs so that I could
And Steven
ride
waited
it.
for you, right?
And yeah,
There,
yeah,
yeah.
he waited there, and they let him wait there, and then we all got to ride together. So shout out to that. What are they
And
called?
you could
Cast members? They're not cast members, are they?
they're
What do you?
cast members
Teammates?
too.
Are they what they're called? You worked there.
I did
you
work
tell
there,
me.
and they talked about backstage and on stage, but I feel like they didn't call us cast members.
Okay, well, Knott's Berry Farm employee, Knott's Berry picker, whatever you are, thank you.
Farmer.
Shout out. Or farmer. Shout out to you.
That's what they should be called. I like it.
Yeah, the pickers.
And it seemed like it was not something they do normally because they were like, "Oh shoot, where did we take her?" And like they couldn't figure out how to get you
Yeah,
out
there
of
was a
the
little bit
line.
of
and-
confusion. And also, I mean, it had only been open for such a short time too. They might have just been, new to the whole procedure. So,
but they still did it.
They still
that's
did
the
it,
point.
and yeah, it was. You saved me my child crying by letting me come back up and ride the ride. So thank you.
And so we went just a week prior to really the 100th anniversary kicking off. So they're celebrating their 100th anniversary for Knott's Berry Farm. And they just started to prep the park with some decorations were going up. They had some photo op areas that you could tell they were building, but they weren't open yet. Some stuff was covered. So stuff like for the soapbox racers and Kingdom of Dinosaurs. But so it's kind of sad we didn't get to see that. And we do have reservations to go pretty soon here. So luckily that stuff still seems like it's there. But how cool is the frickin' K from the top of
Gosh.
Sky Cab?
It looks so good.
Well, wait, which one? Are we talking about the old one photo op or the new one?
The photo op. It's cool that they put a new K up on the top for Knott's. It's like they're known for.
Icon?
It's their icon on the top. It's this big K for Knott's. And they replaced it, just with something with more lights, looks a little better. And
it has like screen quality.
Yeah.
Because for Memorial Day, it looked like a waving flag.
Yeah, that was impressive. I was like, oh, that looks really good.
But it's cool. Now they have the old K sitting as a photo op, and you can go right up to it and get a picture in front of it. So that's pretty neat, especially if you grew up with Knott's or you're really know that icon and being able to get a picture with it. It's kind of the ultimate Knott's Berry Farm photo to get.
The whole photo area of all the different attractions are
elaborate.
So well done. I was kind of bummed that they weren't there, but I'm glad that we get to go back while they're still there because they all have like moving parts and effects, and they're just amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of a la what Disneyland did for their 50th anniversary with those photo ops. 60th.
60th.
The 60th where they had the photo ops.
The 50th they had like the cars, and then for the 60th
they
had
had like those the cutout things type.
Yeah,
I remember the
like
Haunted
the
Mansion
Matterhorn one.
The Matterhorn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. But I feel even more elaborate and just really cute. Just really well done.
It was nice to see them, like, not respect, I guess, but respect their history. Like, they really took the time and care to, like, show their history instead of just saying, they could have just been like 100 years. That's really long. But they took the time to go back and, like, showcase all these bits of their history, which was really cool.
Knott's has so much history that it's important that they really showcase that now. Because now's the time for them to jump in and, like, hey, they cherish their history and their past, but they're not afraid to do stuff that's completely different. I mean, it's Cedar Fair now, so they put in some coasters and stuff, but look what they did with Knott's Berry Tales. That's something that is very, I feel, unique and charming.
It's both. They were able to marry the old attraction and something new. It's really cool.
It's nice.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Even though, like Joel said, Knott's got bought out by Cedar Fair, or Cedar Fair bought Knott's in like 98, and started putting in all these big attractions. It's nice to see that a big company like that is still willing to embrace the past before they own the company. And it's just nice to see that because you guys know my thoughts on good old Six Flags. Did you know that Six Flags just had its 50th anniversary?
No.
Really?
Exactly.
What?
Because of Six Flags, like one of your flagship parks.
Hello,
just
where's
had
Mr.
a
Six out there?
That
just
could've
had
been
a
a draw to
milestone.
people.
Yeah, it just had a milestone, like anniversary. No one knows about it. They did nothing for it
because they don't care about the Magic Mountain part of it. They care about we're Six Flags and we're a coaster capital of the world, not the Magic Mountain part of it. That old school amusement / theme park that had a lot of charm and cuteness
Bring back
to
the
it.
magic.
It's just insane that like there's no mention of it though. It's like
that's sad.
And not to mention even now, like I mean, me, I've always been a huge Knott's Berry Farm person, but Knott's looks so good now than it has in like in the past years. They have put so much like attention to detail and like restoring things. It's so like nice to see that they're doing that. It's not just all being erased. Because like I was worried when like stuff like Silver Bullet came in. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna like start erasing like the historical stuff. But it's nice to see that like now that stuff can coexist with the old stuff.
Yeah.
And it works well.
And they're doing a whole bunch of really cool things for the summer. Like they have the Bob Baker marionettes coming to perform shows throughout the summer, which is, I mean, they're a huge like icon in LA. Like they've been around for so long in LA. So it's so nice to have them like come and bring all that like Southern California history, more history to the park. So that's really cool. I'm excited to see that too with Logan.
Is the Extreme Sports pipe show coming too?
Gosh, I hope so.
That would be actually
2003?
pretty awesome.
I sure hope so.
And speaking of, celebrating their past and not forgetting about it, how cool is it that they built like a temporary mystery house?
It's called the Haunted Shack, sir.
Oh, what?
You're thinking Mystery Lodge.
I am.
What's
It
the
sounded
mystery
right.
shack?
Mystery
What
Shack.
you're talking about.
The Haunted Shack. Well, because they also have, is it Mystery Lodge in Florida? What's the thing called in Florida? It was like the same thing.
Where?
I don't know. It's not one of the main attractions. It was
The
like off of
Mystery
I-4.
Spot.
Mystery
Literal
Spot.
shack in the bayou.
Isn't that in Santa Cruz?
They have that too, which is the same thing with like the.
There's mysteries everywhere, guys.
Anyways, how cool is it that they brought back the Haunted Shack?
I
We're just
loved
gonna glaze over that. Okay.
I loved the Haunted Shack as a kid. Like I thought that
was a staple.
amazing.
Me too. That's probably the thing that I remember most from my childhood trips to Knott's Berry Farm. We did not live in California when I was a kid. My parents were both from there, but when I was born, we didn't live there. And when we would come back to visit, usually we do Disneyland. But for my Knott's trips, that is the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is that
Like-
Haunted Shack.
I still can visually remember the first time that I saw like the guy pour the water into the trough and it went the other direction. I was like, what?
Yeah, I thought that place was evil. I was so freaked out by it as a kid.
So I have to admit,
I think Braden was like that too.
I have to admit, I did not grow up with Knott's Berry Farm, and so I knew of it, and that's why I'm excited that they built like a temporary version of it, just more of a photo op with the warped room, if you will. But yeah, I didn't get to experience all that, and I grew up north with I think Mystery Spot we were just talking about. It's a similar type of stuff, but I've never experienced these things, so it's kind of cool that they're doing that. And I look forward to taking a photo in there.
They should bring that back for Knott's Scary Farm, but like a haunted version of it.
I
That'd be
have
cool.
said that. I have said that for years.
Really?
There needs to be a Haunted Shack maze. Like
That would be
a
good.
no-
Wait, Beth,
brainer.
you say they need to bring this back or do a haunted thing, but you don't even go to haunt?
Okay, but I said I would go to one, and that's the one I would
this
go to.
is the one you're going to.
Wow. Well, we also got to mention, what's this new character called? Whittles?
Oh,
Not
he's
new,
so
old.
New.
He's
Old
old.
but new, but how cute is he?
Oh my god, his little burrow. Just want to pinch both their cheeks.
Whittles the prospect.
Whittles, yes. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that
Hopefully he's not just for the anniversary and they just keep him around.
Yeah,
They got to.
they need some like original IPs to like.
And I think it's better than having just Snoopy everywhere. I like them having their original, like this is their Knott's Berry Farm character.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Snoopy is fine. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
yes, I love the fact of them having their own like original IP that they can bring out in it. That's the Knott's thing.
So that was a lot of fun. I think we should switch over to Orlando because Matt has made it over there a couple times during the pandemic.
Matt.
Recently, he went over to Universal Studios. Got to ride some new stuff that I'm a little jealous about.
do tell.
That's right. We got to ride the VelociCoaster.
My
I can't believe it.
goodness, for AP
You lucked
previews,
out,
right?
man.
Yeah, AP previews. It happened
Nice.
to be the day we were going, and we were able to get times for it, and
That's awesome.
it did not disappoint.
You know, for all the times you have rescheduled this trip, you deserved a little bit of good luck.
Yeah,
I'm
that
glad
was
you
good
got
timing.
it.
If I couldn't have happily ever after at Magic Kingdom, I would take the VelociCoaster as consolation.
So, what did you think?
Oh, I loved it. Like, so the ride portion, I'm not trying to like play it down here. It's a coaster. I mean, I will say, like I said, go ride it. It's not. I'm not
Okay,
trying to say, I'm not trying to say anything bad about it.
let me go.
I still prefer Hagrid's, just because I feel like the whole overall experience of Hagrid's is like mind blowing. Like even my mom, like she knew nothing about Hagrid's, and she said that like from Disney, all the Disney parks, Universal, she said Hagrid's was the best thing she did on the entire trip.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Like, she loved it. But for VelociCoaster, I mean, the scenery is amazing. Like, it's insane. Like, how they got this really tight coaster into, like, those, like, you know, the rock work and all that kind of stuff. The queue is amazing. I think, like, I wish I could have spent more time in the queue because there's lots of videos playing. It's kind of cool that they took a lot of stuff from Jurassic Park and melded it with Jurassic World because Mr. DNA was in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
They had like lockers and stuff that had like books from like Alan Grant and like
that's
Ellie
cool.
Sattler and stuff in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool that they had like, you know, it's
They pay
embracing
tribute to their history.
Exactly.
Like nuts.
So the ride itself though is like fantastic. It's so smooth and it feels relentless. Like it feels like it never stops. It
But
just
it starts
keeps
off
on
slower,
going.
right? Not slower, but the
well,
big
it-
launch is later, correct?
The craziest part I felt like was the very, not like the beginning launch, but that first like part where you're inside the raptor pen. Like I just felt like I was being tossed around like a rag doll. Like when I would get like back in my seat the way I was supposed to go, I was like, bleh, like out of another way. And then yeah, the whole part, you know, the launch out is cool. The top hat portion is cool. One of the coolest parts was the actual like the roll over the water. Because even though when you're looking at the train going over the water, it doesn't look like you're that close. But when your head is like flipping upside down and you're like, oh shit, there's the water. You felt like you were going to be like dunked in the
Like you're like
lagoon.
dipping
It
your
was-
head in there.
Cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like I said, the whole time we were on it, it just felt like I never stopped. But it was so cool.
That's awesome.
That's good to
Which-
hear. It's
It's such a random shout out too for this. And it's just the nerd in me. I love this. That ride has the best locker setup I've ever seen for an entire
I
for an
heard
attraction
about
in
that.
my
That
entire
you're
is-
the
life.
only person to say that.
Like I was like, what? I was like, they're like, oh yeah, put your stuff in this locker, and then when you get off the ride, remember like what color your locker was, because they're double-sided. You put your stuff on one side, you go up to the station. When you come back down on the other side of like a glass wall, and you scan your ticket, and the other side of your locker opens up, and you take your stuff out the other side. So
That's
you
so
go up
cool.
one side and come
That's
out the other.
smart.
It's so cool.
That's
I
really
was like,
cool.
this is yeah. I was like, who? Like this is genius.
Yeah, they need to do that like, in any ride, like all the Six Flags rides and the Knott's rides, and any.
But you don't like the sliding door to slide from one
I don't
side
mind
to-
that. It's the getting. You have to walk across the
Yeah.
train, get to the other side, put it in there, then come back. Especially if you're on the
Or
other side
just
of the
drop
coaster.
it on the ground because there's nothing to put it in.
Yeah,
I feel like I trust the sliding doors at Knott's. I would not trust the sliding door at Six Flags.
It's true.
I was gonna ask if you were smart enough to put your wig in the locker before you rode
Oh, God, I saw that.
VelociCoaster.
That is her
I
legacy.
see that.
I didn't see this.
Oh my God, you haven't seen the video? There's this girl riding, and as it goes over the top hat, you see a wig go flying. And then one of the team members finds it, and she records herself walking up to the entrance of the attraction, and the cast member is like holding her wig out.
You
Oh, I love that. I love that she owned it. It's great.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Anything else worth noting from your Universal trip?
Well, it was not just Universal, right?
Oh no, this one was everything. Yeah.
yeah, we did. I mean, our Universal trip. It's going to be hard going back and not having Express Pass because we literally finished both parks in one day.
How did you get the Express Pass? What made? Did you just pay
Well,
for it,
I
or
used
was
this
it?
thing called money.
I didn't know if you I didn't know if you guys stayed like on property for that trip or something, or
No,
like,
we just
okay.
we just figured because so I have a pass, Braden has a pass.
What's
and-
money?
And so my mom, we were going to buy a 1-day ticket, a 1-day park hopper, and we figured though like there's so much to do in the course of one day, and we're only going to be there for one day, so let's spend the extra money because me and Braden aren't paying for admission, so all we'd have to pay for was the Express Pass. So we essentially. My mom bought her ticket, but then me and Braden split the cost of an Express Pass for her. And it was amazing. We did literally we did things that we wouldn't normally even do just
Yeah.
because we could do the Express Pass.
And-
I mean, I
And
didn't
your
even
mom's
ride
not
one
going
fish,
back
two
every
fish.
time, so
Exactly.
what a great way for her to like kind of experience all of that.
And she loved Walt Disney World, obviously. little more of that in a second, but she actually said she really liked Universal, and she said that she liked that it actually felt like an actual like resorty kind of like thing as opposed to like just a park.
Right. They've done so much to Universal Orlando, and it's just the last time I went was right after Harry Potter, the first Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened, and so I haven't been to Diagon Alley, since then. And there's so much that has opened, multiple attractions, just with the train for Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't know the names of everything. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, even like how you're saying Diagon Alley,
Yeah.
like my mom, like we had just gotten in there and we went straight to the Leaky Cauldron to get food. So we walked in there and she's kind of looking around, and I could start hearing like out in the alley, I could hear like the growling sound, and I told her, "Hey, go out there," because we were like kind of like in Nocturne Alley, and I was like, "Hey, go out there and look at the bank." So she goes out there, and I can see her like looking up, and you can hear the growling get louder. And then when it finally like roared and the fire went, the look on my mom's face was priceless.
Oh.
Was it like scared or just like shock and amazement?
It was just like a what the
like a shock face.
like, yeah, like what the hell?
That's so
That was
cool.
kind of cool. Yeah.
And what else has been open since? We're not going to count Jimmy Fallon, but besides Jimmy Fallon,
Are you going to count Fast and the Furious?
We didn't do that. we had express passes, and
You're like, no, thank you.
Didn't do it.
Good for you.
All right, Cookie
I haven't done
Puss.
Kong. And
I love Kong, which is funny because, I mean,
No, it's
to
not
get
the
ahead of
most
myself-
loved.
Not to get ahead of myself, but we just went to Universal here, and after going on Kong in Florida and then coming back and doing ours, it just feels like such a half-assed experience.
I don't think I did Kong in Florida. Wait, when did Kong open in Florida?
Like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay, I don't think I've been back to Universal since then. So, okay.
They took the studio tour portion and turned it into like a full-fledged attraction.
Instead of the Fast and the Furious and just leaving it exactly the same as a studio.
Yeah, it's
Tour
actually
portion.
really good. Like, and it's kind of like it starts off outdoors, like where you're on like a giant, like, kind of looks like a Kilimanjaro safari truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but it's driven by an animatronic like
Oh.
tour guide, and it's all automatic, and it goes
Okay,
to like
guys.
this temple.
When are we going?
Yeah, you're gonna have to take me back next time. I've never
I think
been.
we're actually
all.
going in October.
What?
Probably.
Wait, we're going in
We're all
October?
going?
Like, we are going?
Well,
Where are we
October?
staying?
I didn't get my invite yet.
Tentatively, we're gonna try to go at the end of September, possibly the beginning of October, and we want to do at least one night at Horror Nights if they start doing it. And I think we're gonna try to stay at Royal Pacific for 2 nights and 1 night at one of the cheaper hotels, just so for the first 2 nights that we stay at Royal Pacific, we get Express Pass for free.
Okay, so I'm going to be waiting for
All
my
right, yeah.
with with the itinerary and how
Yes,
much to
right.
pay.
I'm
So just let me
requesting my
know.
time
You got
off
the whole
already.
grid going, right?
Let me tell Brayden.
Brayden, type it in right
no,
now.
like seriously, if you wanna go, let's do this.
Mama needs a vacation.
If I didn't have some
do
other priorities at home, I probably would be going with you. I'd be inviting myself, but I don't think I'm going to make it.
Because we figured we're gonna start doing like after this trip, we kind of came to the realization that I don't think we can do the whole 7-8 day like Disney World trips anymore. It's just so much work. I think we're
Yeah.
gonna start doing like
Europe?
shorter, like little.
Jones.
Oh, that's next year, Derek.
There you go.
We already talked
Wait, what-
about that.
Telling
We already-
you.
What's
we already
next
talked-
I
year?
missed it.
What's
that
next
was
year?
that was on our mandate at the Arboretum.
Oh, well, where are you going?
We said we want to go to London next year,
Oh, London. Okay.
and Derek's going to be our tour guide.
Okay.
So we're
Let's
screwed.
go, guys.
It's like Derick.
the best time with me as tour guide. 'Cause I
It's
have
all
no idea
photo
what I'm
spots.
doing.
It's going to be like that episode of Friends. Derek's going to put his map on the floor. I need to get in the map. But yeah, so, I mean, I love Universal over there. I mean, I have an annual pass for there, and if we do end up going in October like we're planning, I'll have gone 3 times in 1 year during a pandemic.
What was the hotel that you stayed at? at Universal.
Cabana Bay. So funny about that too is I told Braden, dude, if we just stay at Cabana Bay again, I'm totally fine with that. And he's like, no, let's try staying somewhere different this time. And I was like, he said, he's like, yeah, because we get express. And I was like, I know that's fine and all. I was like, I loved that hotel. I would stay there before I'd stay at any Disney.
It looked so nice.
Yeah. Like over any value resort at Disney, I would stay at Cabana Bay in a heartbeat.
And some of the moderates, I think.
To be honest,
the price point is just a steal compared to Disney.
If we want to talk about Disney World a little bit, I would probably stay at Cabana Bay before I'd stay at Caribbean Beach again.
Well, Caribbean Beach is kind of...
I will say, though...
I've never been super impressed.
So we stayed at Caribbean Beach in like 2010, 2011, something like that. And I wasn't a fan because everything was just so spread out. I mean, this is before they even had like check-in at like Old Port Royal. Like you had to do like check-in at like a separate building. And take
a remote
bus.
building.
Yeah, it was... So I was like, okay. But then obviously the Skyliner opened. And the whole resort itself got a huge facelift, and then the addition of Riviera right next door. Where it's like, okay, let's try it again, because we really wanted to stay somewhere on the Skyliner. Originally, we were staying at Pop Century, and we said, hey, since the dining plan got canceled, let's take that money that we had for the dining plan, let's put it towards an upgrade to a hotel. So we decided to do Caribbean Beach. And while it has its pros and its cons, I feel like the cons might be outweighing a little more than the pros. It's still just way too big. They need to definitely have a couple extra little spots for like food and beverage. Thankfully, though, where we were at, we were staying at Caribbean Beach, but it felt like we were staying at Riviera because Riviera's
right on that edge.
Yeah, so Riviera's quick service restaurant, all of their like drink machines. Even their Skyliner station was literally like 2 to 5 minutes from our hotel, from our room. So we ate at the Riviera almost the entire trip.
See, that's pretty nice. If you know you're going to be close to the Riviera, then
it was it was amazing. Like we were like, okay, if I can't get a room near our lobby, I'm gonna request that location again. And it's literally like the furthest building from the lobby. But it's the closest to Riviera, so it's like, and even though they're two separate hotels, they actually consider that one large resort.
Interesting.
Believe it or not.
I felt when I stayed at the Caribbean Beach Resort, I felt like it was not enough of an upgrade for me to. It still felt like a value resort.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather stay at the Pop Century because I'm getting it for way cheaper, obviously, and of course you're still getting the Skyliner.
I would.
You stay there post upgrade?
Pre-upgrade. Pre-upgrade, yeah.
The rooms are definitely nicer than they used to be. I will say that because we were worried because we couldn't remember if they upgraded the rooms or not. They remind me very much of. I wouldn't say exactly like the Pop Century rooms because I still think the Pop Century room was amazing.
I love the Pop Century.
But they have all the plugs, like USB plugs all over the room. It has like a pull-out bed, all sorts of stuff. So it was actually
all those upgraded features.
Yeah, the room itself was really nice, but just the size of the resort just like killed it. And then, obviously, if you've stayed there, you know that the entire resort shares the same bus loop. So for the parks that had the buses, so we were
that's the biggest con.
We were our room cluster was the last to be picked up. Yeah. So if we were the last to be picked up,
you had to hope there was
to be
space
dropped off. Yeah, and especially during pandemic, because usually Disney World buses, it's if there's room, we're gonna put you on it.
You cram in there.
Yeah,
balls to butts.
It's not like that right now. Right now, it's like before you get on the bus, the driver will ask you how many people are in your party, and they'll tell you, okay, go sit on the seats that are numbered number 2. But if you get, and there's no standing room, so if the bus comes around, you better hope that there's space for it.
Yeah.
Of course, they haven't gotten that down. I mean, it's been like that for a while,
well,
right?
Thankfully, only times we had to use the bus was Animal Kingdom and for Magic Kingdom. We did take we took the Skyliner obviously to Epcot and to Hollywood Studios. We did we Lyft over to Epcot one day just because I wanted to walk through the whole I wanted the whole experience of going into Epcot through the main gate with Spaceship Earth and all the new music and everything. And we did take we took a Lyft over to Hollywood Studios one day because the Skyliner was down till noon. But I mean, buses in Disney World suck anyways. They've gotten so bad lately.
Yeah, I don't know how they can justify a lot of it with, I mean, it's really becoming an issue, right? And I think a lot of people are really stressing how much, I mean, I think it's starting to take people away from wanting to stay on property because it's no longer really a benefit in some cases. I just don't know what the lay of the land is going to look like in 2 years from now, completely post-pandemic. They already have annual passes back over there, but how is it going to, are they going to completely change their operations? Because I feel like the bus system is just not working. It's creating too much of a negative impact for guests going, including myself, where I've decided, hey, I'm going to spend an extra $10 to $15 every time I go somewhere on a Lyft because I do not want to wait 45 minutes plus in heat, sometimes not in the shade, waiting for a bus with a bunch of cranky people.
No, and see, one of the things too is I mean, the bus service has always sucked. And since the pandemic, it took something that already sucked and made it even worse.
Yeah.
Because, for example, one of the worst times we had was we were at Disney Springs. And so the Caribbean Beach and the Riviera bus stops are right next to each other. We had two choices. We could either take Caribbean Beach or we could take Riviera. Well, the Caribbean Beach line was super long. There was nobody in line at the Riviera once we got in that one. We saw 4 Caribbean Beach buses come up, but since everything's socially distanced, the line barely moved. And then on top of that, Riviera had 1 bus running. We waited 30 minutes for a bus.
Yeah, I think we can't really compare right now the bus situation during limited capacity because it's just a joke.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just thought it was weird that, you've got Riviera, which by the time the bus showed up, our line got really long. And I mean, even though we weren't staying at Riviera, it's kind of crazy that this is one of your DVC resorts. This is one of your highest paying customers are staying at this property. You would think that the bus service for that would probably be a little bit better, but it was just as bad as everywhere else. So it's you would think, oh, I'm paying the premium, I'm going to get better bus
premium service. Yeah.
Nope. You still had to wait just as long as everybody else.
Well, shall we move over to the West Coast?
Okay.
let's move on to the West Coast because anything that really happened in Florida, for your Disney World, it's kind of no longer relevant. As bad as that sounds, it's things
moving
have changed
fast.
so much over there.
So fast. You're irrelevant.
You're no one cares anymore, Matt. No, it's true though. It's you can't talk about things that happened 3 weeks ago at Disney World because it's a different experience now. Yeah. So let's go over the West Coast. Let's get to Universal Studios Hollywood because you did just go to back there again. That's your first time there since the pandemic.
God, Matt is hogging this whole podcast.
Yeah. Well, I've now been there twice.
I know.
You've been there twice. Okay,
and I'm going again next Thursday.
I don't blame you. If you can go, especially because you have an annual pass.
Yeah, exactly. Our first. So, like you said earlier, though, a lot of it is you're at this point now where people are so just over socially distancing. The employees, are how much can we do? What can we do anymore?
They're not getting paid enough to do
when we went when we went the first time, and I'm not trying to say anything was either time was terrible. I will say if you are going to Universal Studios, be prepared to wait in line because as you know, that park is already super, super small to begin with. Mm-hmm. They only have at the most maybe 8 full attractions. Yeah. So when you figure there's 8 full attractions, you have it 35% capacity, and you're limiting the capacity on the attractions too. The lines are insanity. The first time we went, we literally went on 3 things. We did Harry Potter, we did Jurassic World, and we did Secret Life of Pets. On our last trip this last week, we did the studio tour and the Secret Life of Pets. And the only reason we weren't really too worried about it was just kind of like, I need to get out of the house for the day. I haven't really been out because I've been working so much. I will say this last trip on the studio tour, I love socially distant studio tour because each party gets their own row. Each row is separated by another row.
Ooh.
And so like, sometimes when you go on the studio tour, there's like a party of 3 and then there's another party of 3. They throw all 6 of you in the same row.
Yeah.
And so you're practically sitting on top of somebody else. So it was kind of nice that like it was just us. So if I wanted to go to one side, we can go to the other side. It was amazing.
Good point.
And we were actually in the very, very first row. So it was the tour guide and then us.
Oh, nice.
So the entire time he's like calling us out on
I
stuff.
have never been that close.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I was using my my gimbal and I was recording stuff. And he's like, "Are you going to be recording me?" And I was like, "I wasn't planning on it." He goes, "Well, let me know now so I can give you my best side."
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Secret Life of Pets?
I love it. It's
Yeah.
exactly what that park needs. I will say the ride system is a little over. I want to say the ride system. The restraint system is overkill to 1,000.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
Why is
complaints
that?
about that.
Oh my God. Like I'm sitting there thinking like even the other day when we went on it and I'm like, this is not necessary. We are
Right.
moving like 4 miles an hour. Like you could have a simple lap bar and a bench seat.
Don't they have like a test vehicle outside too? Like
Yes.
it's so like small. Like I'm like, why?
It's insane. Well, because even like I noticed like when I got in it, I mean, I'm not like a tiny person, but I'm also not like a large person. And I'm sitting there, you pull down the lap bar. If you look on the floor, when the lap bar like comes out, there's like markers and it has to show some green in order for like you to be okay. And I'm like, I could see green, but I'm like, there's not like a whole lot of green. Like,
Like,
how
are you gonna
Were you
fly
okay?
out?
yeah, like what do you think I'm gonna do on this? Like seriously, they need to do something about that because that's
wonder
just
if it-
overkill.
I wonder if it's like
sort of
some
a legal
risk
thing.
thing with their lawyers saying like,
Yeah.
hey, not like so much you could get out and get injured, but more or less you could get out and destroy things or hurt
trust me,
yourself
I was-
because it was
I
so
was-
easy to get out in a slow moving vehicle.
I was stapled in there so hard that I was not getting out anywhere.
I feel like Universal just does not know how to do family attractions. Like it's kind of like out of their wheelhouse. They're just starting to get into that where it's like a family attraction where multiple generations can ride together. And I feel like maybe they're
Well,
just like,
and
let's
that's-
just lock everyone in.
Well, and that's the thing though, is you literally can't take little kids on this, right? It has a height requirement.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, and I'm
That
like,
doesn't do
this
anything,
this
right?
ride moves, and mind you, it doesn't. There's no like horizontal move. It's all lateral through the entire thing. There's no tilting. There's nothing. You are literally
Weird.
just going flat through an
Like
entire
Pooh's
attraction.
Honey Hunt
And
all
the
the way
height
through.
requirement?
Yeah, and the fact that it has you can't ride with your
That is
family. Essentially,
weird.
yeah, that needs to be changed because that's the only thing that sucks.
Yeah.
I do want to get a little bit into the ride, but real quick, I'm just thinking like for Universal Studios right now, like there's no non-thrill attractions, right? Because if you even think about 3D attractions, there's still a thrill element to them. So like Minions still has a
Mini
Minions,
Minions.
minions.
They do have that parking lot fire attraction though. That's
Ooh.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
It's exciting.
Trash
Did you see
fire.
the picture? I love the picture of like because they added that
The minion
giant
just-
minion to
yeah.
the wall, and it's like you see him like looking, and there's like the smoke and the fire, and it's so menacing looking.
That was nuts. But no, seriously, I don't know Universal that well. I mean, I know it well enough. I don't think there really is a
There isn't.
non-thrill attraction.
No, I
even if
think
anyone go on it. So I get what you're saying though, Beth. Like they don't know, that's not their wheelhouse, and so now they did one that they needed, but for some reason they went crazy with.
They
that.
went overboard with
Common
height
sense is not
requirements
their
and-
wheelhouse.
To be honest, I feel like they have it open right now. They're going to leave it that way. I would not be surprised if down the road we see some sort of like change to that because they've done that in the past where they've noticed that like, oh shit, we did something with this restraint system that we probably shouldn't have. Because if you remember right, the Harry Potter restraint system when it first opened was like insanely restrictive. Like you couldn't be like past a certain size. Like even for me, like I said, I'm not like, it's not even like a stomach thing, because I feel like I do have a bigger belly, but I'm very like barrel chested. So when I would put like the thing down on like Harry Potter, it would hit my shoulders and like on my chest, and it wouldn't go down any further. And you have to have it down to a certain, it's not like a stomach thing. It's just like,
Right.
and
Your shoulders
and they have since changed that. The restraints on like Harry Potter are a lot more,
More comfortable.
I want to say comfortable. They're more accommodating now. Like they're not as like restrictive. You don't have to have it to this certain point anymore. So I'm hoping eventually down the road, maybe that's what they'll do with this, because it's so unnecessary the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I want to still talk about Secret Life of Pets, just because I have not watched a full ride
Me too.
point of view of it
Or
yet.
me neither.
But the stuff I have seen, even like the ending with, I don't want to give anything away, but like some of the things they do and the effects at the end seem really cool. And I'm kind of impressed with some of these little items that they're doing at Universal that you wouldn't really expect a park like Universal to be doing.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it's
excited
exciting.
for them to start doing more of that stuff. I'm excited for that.
It was
Yeah,
just
just-
nice not being all screens.
Yes. Yeah.
That's true.
Well, let's move on. Just real quick, I do want to touch upon Jurassic World, just because it is still relatively new, and they added the
Indominus Rex.
yes, thank you. So they added that at the end. Looks incredible.
Insane.
Of course, it's already been broken a few times, like I expected.
Well, it's new.
It's new.
gonna happen.
I'm giving them a hard time.
Remember when Disneyland opened in 1956?
What?
56.
Oh my God, get out of
Oh
here.
my God, you guys!
You're fired from this podcast.
No, he knew.
I know, I'm
You
just
guys-
kidding.
Are you guys serious?
Just
I don't know what
You know
it's in
that's-
Are
reference
you
to.
serious?
Yes, I'm
You know
just
that's-
kidding.
You know, I say, you know that's a Jurassic Park reference,
Yes,
right?
yes, I'm just kidding.
Wait, do you know that, Derek?
Yes.
Have you seen the
I did
movie?
not know that's a reference in the movie.
What?
They say
Yeah.
1956 in it.
Oh, it's very upsetting.
When they're in like the bunker and Ian Malcolm has like his leg broken and
Yeah.
like John Hammond comes in there to give him like a pep talk because he's like trashing the park and he's like, well, you know when Disneyland opened in 1956 and you're like,
it was
How does that
very
happen?
upsetting.
How does that happen?
Intentional, right?
Anyway,
It has to be, right?
well,
It was-
you would expect a man who doesn't even know what year Disneyland opened to have a shitty theme park.
It's true.
But that ride though, like, so I've always liked Jurassic Park. It definitely was getting old. It felt very dated, especially after we went on the one in Islands of Adventure on our last trip, and I'm like, oh god, we got the better end of the deal on this one. It's just so good, and it's still a water ride. You know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do like that they have had it kind of like turned down a little bit, so you're not getting completely soaked on it. But
It misted.
yeah, the fact that like that whole, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's like the greatest animatronic I've ever seen, but just something that large that is moving as fluidly as it was, and it comes close to you too, like
Okay,
like
Yeti
it's like right
or
over
the
you.
dinosaur, Matthew. You've seen both in action.
The dinosaur.
Wow.
Wow.
really?
Impressive.
Well, because so with the Yeti, I mean, the Yeti might be even more impressive. But the only thing is, you literally see that for
Right.
A second.
You
like a
fly by
second.
it.
You see it for a
You don't
second.
stop
So
for a second to
even
see it.
now that it's not even moving and you have like the disco lights on it,
Yeah.
it still kind of has that feeling like it's moving. But you're literally like, you see this thing, you watch it walk in from outside, from the dark, and you see it like rear back, and you pretty much go underneath him as like the T-Rex is also coming
Yeah.
out of the waterfall, and then you see both their heads like turn towards each other, and it does this whole like,
There's
and
a
it's
whole
just, like, you're
story
like-
there.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit.
It's really weird that they opened up this attraction right pre-pandemic. Is that
Yes.
long ago? Yeah. So they opened it up, but it didn't have this yet, and then they just I guess it was probably always meant to happen. I just
Yeah.
feel, right.
No, they had even announced that like it was like a placeholder. But the cool thing is, even the placeholder was still like whatever. I mean, it was an animatronic. It's about what I expected. But the cool part of it is that they actually took the placeholder and moved it to another portion of the attraction now.
Oh, that's cool. So they didn't like
Yeah.
just toss it out. or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, I'm like
Like there's
wondering, like, okay,
twice, right?
did they already have like a plan for that? Because it wasn't there before. So
Yeah.
like maybe the whole plan was like, hey, we're gonna put this up here. Once we get the real thing, we're gonna move this one to where it's supposed to go, because it's in like a cool spot, like where you would imagine it to be too. So it makes sense.
Well, either way, that's really cool. I need to get back out to Universal. It's been a while for myself to go to Universal Studios Hollywood. I mean, yeah, they're building Super Mario World, so at least they do have more stuff coming that looks family friendly, and I think really what that park needs. So let's move on to Disney finally. A couple of you guys. What?
Here we are.
Finally,
Yeah. Unless you want to talk about anything else, Matt. but
grudgingly. Let's move on to Disney grudgingly.
Got
So-
some feelings.
on my notes here, so we have some upcoming Disney trips, right? We already talked about it, how Derick and Beth are going. I put on here, get it off your chest, Beth and Derick.
My gosh.
Because they're a little frustrated. It's kind of been fun watching them go through this.
Really?
Spiral. We
Yeah.
like start out so excited. We're going. And then we like
Yeah.
spiral.
I'm
more and
not.
more.
I'm not gonna lie. I get quite a bit of enjoyment out of it because I'm like, oh my god.
Both Matt and I were both, before you guys got tickets, we both consciously decided we're not going to go for anytime soon. So,
I was there with you guys too. I was
Yeah.
like adamant. I was like, I'm not spending this amount of money. They don't want me there. I'm a annual pass holder. They don't want me. They don't want my money. But I have a 5-year-old who is dying to go
Sure.
see all of the Avengers stuff. I mean, Stephen and I have always been into Marvel before we even, had a kid. That was like our thing. But she loves Spider-Man. And she really wants to go. And she's been super excited this whole time to go. And, like I said, she hasn't done much this for like a full year. She's been, hasn't seen much of anybody. She's just like kind of been outside of our apartment, and there's not a whole lot she could do. So I felt really bad. And she was so excited to go see this Avengers campus.
I was gonna say, if you want to take her to go see Spider-Man, just take her across the country and go see the good one.
I don't want to take her on an
Hey, you don't
airplane
know that
yet.
yet.
Like honestly, like if kids could have vaccines, I totally would, because it's like a 6-hour airplane flight in a tube like freaks me out because she can't have a vaccine yet. So, but because of that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to look and see. So we ended up finding a time shortly after it opens. So really we're going for her. I mean, not that I'm not excited, but we're going for her, and I'm just fingers crossed I can get, what is it called? What is the ride even called?
What is it called?
What
Web
is the ride
slingers.
called?
Web
Web slingers.
slingers.
Web slingers, Spider-Man web
Spider-Man
slingers.
adventure.
Okay, thank
is
you.
it really called that? A Spider-Man
It's
adventure?
it's something like extra long like that. So, fingers crossed I can get it at 7 a.m. and get up and get it. We got a hotel because I don't want to deal with traffic on a Monday morning from Riverside
That's
County.
probably the smartest move.
I think so. I
really
think it's going to save us a bunch of stress. It's literally right across from the park. So I think that was the best move to make. So
Yeah, I agree.
I think Beth's going just so that she can say she went before I did.
I did try to make sure. No, because I didn't start looking until after they announced that June 15th was the date when kind of everything we're getting rid of all tiers. So I didn't start looking until after that was announced. So I tried to go before then. Just the fact that I went before you was just magic.
No, but see, this is my gripe too, because so I have a selfish reason, right? Like I had serious FOMO. Like I haven't been in so long, and I think out of our group that I'm probably not able to go as much as the rest of you to Disney, right? And so for me, I'm like, shoot, I'm just gonna pull the trigger. This is the only time that I'm able to do something like this. It's been so long. Like everybody else is deciding to go. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy my ticket. I was thinking to myself, okay, this is probably the only time in life where they're reopening the parks. It's going to be super like empty. And
20%, 15% capacity.
15%, 20%, 25%. And so, yeah, I'm here buying my tickets, but, my mistake was thinking that this whole reservation period up to the end of June was going to be set at what it was. And so, and to be fair, I think that a lot of people felt the same way. It's like, you're going through the effort of reserving something. You're
I'm
setting
paying
up this
this
whole,
much money, right?
Exactly. And so, and they're making it complicated for that purpose to say like you have to reserve your spot, you have to, buy your ticket, get the tiered ticket, whatever, get your date. These are the rules. Have your mask on, 25%, whatever. And so, just so happened to me that the date that I select is June 15th. And I'm like, what?
Sorry to laugh,
This is,
but
this is where you insert
just have to laugh.
you insert the Price is Right, like the losing sound.
This is how I felt.
hold on.
because-
Can we update the non-California residents to why that's a big date?
I mean, it's a big date is because that's apparently when now California is a free-for-all in terms of all of the loosening of the restrictions. Masks are no longer a requirement.
Pants aren't required.
Pants aren't required.
Nothing's required anymore.
And the
I don't know why I'm imagining they're gonna do like a commercial for like tourism.
masks.
For like tourism, and they're gonna use the California "Here I Come," and they're gonna do like that. Open up, open up, open up.
Well, and then like so it's open up to like non-California residents, right? Like they're raising up the percentage restrictions.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's just kind of
They haven't said specifically that they are raising up percentages,
No, but
but
then
they
they
have not
reopened
said that they have not.
More spots.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
not clear.
And
you know.
it does suck that like you and me both. I mean, even for myself, they increased the percentage of people that was going to be in from when I purchased the tickets, which fine, okay, but it does suck because for me, I was like, okay, the reason I am willing to spend this much money for a 1-day park hopper ticket is because I know it's going to be low capacity,
Yeah.
and then to have that not available, it sucks.
And it's just so weird thinking like, I've never had so much anxiety about planning a trip to
About
Disneyland.
1 day, right?
For 1 day.
Oh my
Like it's just so unnatural.
It is stressful. Why
It's
do people?
stressful.
I do not understand why anyone who does not have an annual pass would pay this much money to have this much stress.
Exactly. That's the problem
Yeah.
with the. It's
Yeah.
always been the problem with the prices, and that's why I always told people I would never suggest or I would never recommend somebody to go to Disneyland at full price
Like that's
because
why
I knew
feel,
you would never get the value
Yeah.
that you feel like it's worth. How much you would have to
to
have
spend
everything
and
go perfectly.
plan
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and now I've looked at July. Dates are not sold out in July, which even though paying how much I paid and knowing that I would not do it again until I had some sort of annual pass or discount program or something, I was still surprised that looking in July, after they've opened the state up, after passes are available to everyone, that the only date that was sold out was July 3rd. Like I was surprised by that.
Yeah. But like even at full
Interesting.
capacity, which I don't think there'll still be a full capacity even in July yet.
I don't think they'll tell us
But-
either way, right?
Yeah.
No, but I don't think
Yeah.
they're not going to allow for an 80,000 to 100,000 capacity day
Right.
yet in July. Not because they can't do it. They're allowed to do it. I just don't
Right.
think Disneyland has the means to do it yet.
Yeah,
with-
they're not staffed yet. And
I mean,
yeah.
if you're having 100,000 people, or DCA doesn't fit 100,000, but if you have a full capacity day, you need to have a show in Hyperion Theater, and Frozen
You have to
is
have
gone.
things
So-
to eat people, yeah.
Yeah, so you need those things there, and it's not there
Not
right
there.
now.
But I was surprised that, all of July is still basically open.
Yeah. But here's the thing, I think why Matt and I were cracking up about it is because I think both him and I both figured that, hey, things are going to start reopening, and it's not like Disney. We didn't think Disney was going to wait until everyone that has already secured a ticket, wait until those reservations are up to finally release more tickets.
And I feel like I'm in a better position than Derick because I am still before they open to
Exactly.
before they open to out-of-state guests.
I just happen to have
Before
a
they
magic
lift
date.
mask restrictions, because again, that's my big thing. Because I have a 5-year-old who cannot be vaccinated, so my booking of those tickets is knowing that those mask restrictions are still in place. Like that's why I booked, because I know that it's going to be safe, in the most broad sense, safe for her. So I'm glad that that's still the case for the dates that I booked.
Well, like my thing is though, it's like for Derick. I mean, like you said, you didn't know at the time because you made the reservations before they made the announcements.
Mhm.
But I don't feel like there was ever any sort of like guarantee like written into your reservation that said like, hey, like expect the lowest crowds you've ever expected in your entire life, or hey, we're not going to reopen if we can't do this. Hey, you know, like, yeah, you have a June 15th ticket, but if we're allowed to let more people in, like, we're going to do it.
And that's fair. Like, and I'm not expecting Disney to like hold off. I know they need to rebound from like being closed for over a year, but it just kind of bites to think that, you know, you're planning this whole thing and it's just kind of like a normal day. So what really is the point? Like, I just don't know, like past this time frame, if I'm going to be going back anytime soon. And that's what just kind of bites about it, is because, you know, the feeling of the anxiety of, for one, you know, not just having to plan this whole date with the reservation and buying a ticket, you know, separate times, all that. But then to think about having to reserve reservations for food and then reservations for rides and then mobile order.
That's
like, this
the other
whole
thing.
plan is so like anxious to me.
That's the other thing, is that they are increasing people, but people are still having issues with mobile ordering, and that's where they're trying to direct everyone to mobile order. And it's becoming a big issue. Like, it's been a complaint since the parks have started to reopen, and they still have not fixed the issue. Even today, as we've recorded, I've seen multiple people complain about the ordering issues with food. So it's not even just that more people will be coming in. It's that they're letting people in, but they have not fixed the other issues yet. Mobile ordering, or they're putting too many spaces in between cars, so lines are extra long. They just haven't addressed those extra issues.
Right. Well, to me, it's like, why even try to fix the mobile? Just get rid of mobile ordering. Like,
Don't make it a requirement. Like, why? Why does it have to be
because I went to Angel
ordering?
Stadium at opening day, right? And it was the worst experience I've ever experienced. Not just at Angel Stadium, just in a large gathering. I felt like there was a mob scene that was about to break out and people were going to die and fight over food. I'm not joking. Like, I really felt that was going to happen. And
Joel's got his knife.
yeah, but
I feel like it's going to happen.
it's all because of those. Because they had mobile ordering and it wasn't working, and it was taking 2 hours to get food. Or by that I mean that was 2 hours, and then me demanding to get food because there was no way I was going to get my food. That was the only way I got food. So now you're having people waiting over an hour with their mobile orders that they ordered from earlier in the day. They go and they still wait an hour once they say they're there. That's not okay, and it doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, mobile ordering is a great option, but why force everyone that's your only option? You can still stand in line. You're standing in line for everything else. The lines are all outside.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's insane that like it's such a stark contrast from the East Coast, because in Florida right now, good majority of the quick service restaurants are still mobile order only. And
oh, really?
We didn't run into like any issues with that.
Why are they having so much issues?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are they understaffed? Like, they have not like staffed up enough?
I feel like the only time I ever really had to kind of like wait was for when we went to Sotuli Canteen, but that's because my app was like acting like a crackhead. Mm-hmm. And that was the only time I ever had an issue. But like everything else, like we never had a problem with mobile order. We mobile ordered everything. We mobile ordered our food from like the Riviera, from Caribbean Beach. And the only thing that kind of sucks about it though is like, I can imagine here it's probably a pain in the ass. But so when you normally, for example, like when we went to any of the quick service restaurants, you can't go find a table until after you get the thing that says your food is ready for pickup. Like they have people standing, they have people standing at the entrance, and you have to show them like my table's ready or my food is ready. Then you can go inside. Until then, you have to wait outside. But even then, it was like I never felt like we had an issue finding a table. It was always super quick. So I don't know why they're having such an issue here. And it's not like mobile order is a new thing. It's been around forever now.
I remember people having this issue at Touch of Disney. We did not personally have that issue, but I remember people saying they had a similar issue where they would order something and it would take, 2 hours before their order was ready to be picked up.
Well, maybe come June 15, they'll be properly staffed and they'll be a non-issue for mobile order.
Well, that's the silver lining. That's what I really want to like. That's what I want to stress for you, Derick. It's like, hey, just keep in mind, you're going to go, it's going to just put on your 2015 hat. Like, not literally, but like, your mental hat of like from 2015, summer, busy time, and just expect it to be kind of how it was where, hey, it's going to be busy. Yeah, it's going to be crowded.
But everyone's supposed to be wearing their masks still.
People will probably still be wearing masks.
I don't know that. 15?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I know that we're going to have an awesome time. I'm just going to be happy to be going to have the opportunity. And I'm sure, Beth, you're thinking the same thing. We'll have a great time. It's just a very different experience from what we bargained for. Not even just a non-AP experience, but just a completely opposite.
We're not used
meticulously
to plan things.
Running the risk of not being able, you know what I mean? So
this is the one thing I hate about Walt Disney World. I hate having to plan everything out to like a T. That's what I love about Disneyland is I'm like, I'm free, carefree, wherever the wind takes me.
So we'll see. We'll report back.
Yeah, but I am excited, and Derick and I will both hopefully have a chance to experience the Avengers Campus. It'll be open for both of our trips, so hopefully we'll both have a chance to experience it.
And so we're recording this just shortly after they had their grand opening ceremony.
The day after, yeah.
For Avengers Campus. I think we all have we're all hyped, but I think we all have realistic expectations as well. And so I'm impressed with what it is, and I think we all understand what Avengers Campus is supposed to be. We don't have like this. We're not going in it blind, and we don't have
think
this
there's an
false
e-ticket
reality.
in there.
Yeah, we understand that. Like
there is. It's only been open for like 4 years now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
We got a really long preview.
Well, really, since it's been 2004. But
my kid is tall enough for that right now. I am stoked. I don't know if she's
awesome.
gonna want to go on it. I don't know. I've explained it to her like what it is, so I'm not sure if she says she wants to go on everything she's tall enough for.
After you forced her on that Knott's ride.
I know. I'm gonna tell her. I did not know what to expect for what was it, Sidewinder? What?
Sierra Sidewinder.
Sidewinder.
You could physically see it.
I know, but I was not sure. But
it was wild for me.
It is a pretty intense ride.
She did say she would go on it again.
Oh.
Now that she knew what it was, she just said that it made her tummy upset, which is fair. Yeah.
And it was our first attraction.
Yeah, it was kind of the first thing in a year she's done. Yeah. I'll start her off slow. I'll get her going.
And then was I sitting with you, Matt? Who was I sitting with?
You're sitting with me.
Braden?
Yeah.
So I was sitting with you, and we were like backwards the entire time. And we got some good G's on it.
I can hear my husband, Steven. He was like cackling behind me. He was like, I was not expecting that.
It's pretty fun. Where were we? We were talking about Adventures Campus.
What's going on with annual passes, guys?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Nothing's happening.
They say we should know something before the end of the year, right?
Yeah, that's 6 months away.
Okay,
we'll know that legacy meant shit.
Well, we already know that.
Yeah.
So my hope is that, again, I am still surprised that July is not booked up, even though to me it is too expensive for what it is. I still kind of expected all the out-of-staters, I guess, to come rush in and get their stuff, at least on the West Coast. DCA, I kind of expected to not fill up right away, but even Disneyland is full almost all the way through the whole month as of recording this. So my hope is that by September they'll be like, oh shit, we need annual pass holders.
We need money.
We need to bring these people back in. No one's just gonna come and spend random money all the time.
I'm hoping that I'm not a Chapek hater like most people are. I'm not in love with Chapek, but I'm not a hater.
Can we talk about our spouses?
But that speech was terrible.
It's awful. But he never has had a good speech.
No,
I am robot. I am talking.
For the opening of Avengers Campus, my husband, who has literally no concept of who Chapek is, he likes Disney, but he does not follow all this stuff. He was like, who is that guy? He looks like a jerk. His speech is he does not care what he's talking about.
when I watched it, because I watched it last night after I got off work, and I'm watching it, and after Chapek is done and Damaro's done, and I'm watching like Josh is like standing out there. He looks like a people person. He looks like he's standing like super loose and like kind of with his hands clasped. He just looks like he's like enjoying it. And then you look back there and like Bob Chapek is like moving like back and forth. He looks like one of the background presidents from the Hall of Presidents. One of the animatronics.
No one knows their name.
Yeah,
And it's that does feet taps.
yeah, that doesn't have like a full range of movement. It's just maybe every so often his
just
head
kind
will
of
nod a
rotates
little bit. That's what I'm like, dude. Like loosen up, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's Avengers Campus opening, and you're like, yeah,
It was embarrassing, yeah.
it's because he knows he shouldn't be there.
He spent money. He spent money on this.
What was my point? What was I saying about Chapek?
Who knows?
I don't hate him, but
You don't love him.
I don't love him. Whew,
Peas.
Annual pass holders.
annual pass. So hopefully thank you guys for getting me back straight here. So he doesn't, I'm sure he's planning on some crazy new system or program, right?
I'm waiting for my punch
Reward
card.
system. Yeah, exactly.
My
I'm
Subway
hoping
punch
that,
card.
Stickers.
like you said, come July or August, they're like, we're not filling the parks. We can't do this. It's not going to sustain this way. And that's when they realize, okay, let's scramble and put in a quick annual pass program.
It's
And it's
gonna be
$199 again.
It's going to be the light magic of pass holding.
I mean, didn't
pass
this already
systems.
happen for Galaxy's Edge? Like they were like, it's gonna be packed. But if you block out all the pass holders, who's coming to your park? It's the pass holders.
That was
It's
a
true.
crazy time. Well, it was that. And going back to that, I mean, I don't want to get too much into that, but I do think that there was
That's
a
for
lot.
another episode. We should discuss that one. Because
The Galaxy's Edge opening. No, but there was also a lot of fear.
yeah, I mean,
People were afraid to
there
go
was,
because there's so
yes.
much buildup. They're like, oh,
But I
well,
mean,
I'm not
how
going to go.
many
There's
how many passes were blocked out for just like this huge
Right.
chunk of time? And they started
here we are.
offering like SoCal discounts to try to get people in. And you're an annual pass holder here. Have this other they literally were trying to get people in.
And it goes back to the whole thing, though, where, that works in Florida, but we
Yeah,
are a local park. It's
it
gotten
is
to that
not-
point now. I understand they want to make Disneyland Resort like a tourist destination where
It is not.
they want people to come and spend days there.
Your hotels are too expensive.
Yeah.
You don't have the space. Like that's just not what it is. And
You didn't open
and-
up with Avengers.
accept it for what it is.
Well, and I
And let
understand.
us in.
I understand that they say, well, a lot of the annual pass holders don't go in there and spend money. But I feel like our group here is
crock of shit.
one of those exceptions because we
So,
literally,
yeah.
we literally pass a beer cart. I'm not even thirsty, but I'm buying a beer.
Me
Yeah.
too. I got 2 cup holders in my stroller. I need to fill them both.
But it's not even beer and food. Like we buy merch too.
Yeah,
Not
we buy
like a
dumb
ton,
shit.
but-
I mean,
mean,
I look around my room right now and I'm like, how much of this shit did I buy as an annual pass holder?
cut out the Southern California pass. Make 2
course,
tiers
yeah.
of a pass. Like no one's
Call
saying
it
you
a
have
day.
to have like the lowest like possible tier that's only open midweek, but give us some options here.
Right. Yeah, it's no one knows. I really can't. I want to say I can understand what they're going to probably do, but I don't
I know,
think
like
I know.
I have what I think they should do, but they have just not done what I think they
Yeah.
should do
But
for
I
a
think
long
they
time.
kind of know it too, which is why they haven't announced anything. Like they are seeing how the summer goes, because I'm sure that they have the same idea that it could fizzle out.
Does Avengers Campus? It feels like it was built for annual pass holders in mind. It feels like an annual pass holder land.
With the whole
The web slingers,
thing.
the web slingers you can purchase. They have all these photo op areas. They have tons of food and drink and one new attraction. Like it feels like it was built for pass hold. Like I could see us if we all had annual passes going in and getting a bunch of overpriced drinks and enjoying them and a bunch
I
of
would-
beers.
I'd be holding my PIM Laboratories drink in one hand, and I'd be holding my
Yes.
Iron Man repulsor in the other.
I'd be wearing my ugly ass Loki ears. Those things are so ugly. But yes, like it feels like it was built for. It was put in a place where annual pass holders are prevalent and would come and make use of the area.
I agree with you to a certain
And then they
extent,
forgot.
because I feel like we live in an Instagrammable world that even if you're not an annual pass holder, the Adventures Campus is still very Instagrammable to the point where any day guest,
True.
a non-AP holder, will still go in there and be taking photos and putting it all over social.
True.
Yeah.
But are they buying the merchandise?
But think about Disney World. Disney World has a ton of Instagrammers, but they go
And
frequently
walls.
because they have annual passes.
Yes.
Who's going to be taking? There may be the one-off person who goes in to take those photos to get people hyped about it. But if they're not going in, frequently,
Regularly,
yeah,
yeah.
you're not going to have all of those. You're going to have, here's a couple a month.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do agree. I'm just saying, I do think it kind of goes hand in hand with society.
Listen, no, just tell Disney they're listening to this podcast. You tell them they need us back.
They need to just announce that they're going to build the e-ticket. Like, make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, just put in the investment. People are going to go. Come on.
I feel like that's my biggest gripe with Avengers Campus. Like, I in no way, shape, or form, I feel like I'm not going to go in there and enjoy it. Like, I feel I'm going to go in there and I'm going to love every bit of it. But I also can't help but feel that, like, okay, we're lumping Guardians into it. Yeah, Guardians has been open now since 2017?
Well, that was the plan, though. I think that
Yeah,
was
no,
the plan.
and I get it
Yeah.
was the plan. But, like, yeah, now you've repurposed the whole area. Now it's part of, it's anchored in that land. But it's like, okay, we've seen this now for like almost 5 years. It's not like this is new. And then our other things are a restaurant, which, yeah, it's cool. I like it. You get the Doctor Strange area, which does look cool. And then you get a Spider-Man ride, which, like I said, none of us have been on it. A lot of people we know have not been on it. We've seen reviews, both good, both bad. It's one of those things where I'll wait and see my final judgment.
Right.
But I can't help but feel like, and I know this is just me being a Universal fanboy. If you've ever been on The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure, that's almost
It's
a damn near perfect
It is.
Spider-Man or comic book ride.
It is
Like,
one of my
it's-
favorite rides
yeah.
ever. It is good.
I rode it on the last trip, and I'm like, this holds up so well. And the
Yeah.
fact that, like, Universal, even though, it's like, okay, we don't really own these properties anymore, so we got to make sure we still, keep it up a bit. And they've redone the videos. It's like 4K now.
Why didn't they just clone that?
Yeah, it's...
His face. Oh, you guys can see his face.
It's a big roll, a big eye roll there.
But it's just like, I see that, and then, like, I don't doubt that Web Slingers is going to be cool, but it's the same kind of technology I could see down at Legoland, because they have a ride that
same
pretty much
exact
does
ride,
the same
basically.
thing, and it's like, I expect higher
And it's-
from them.
Yeah.
And it's not that much different from Knott's Berry Tales. Really, I mean, yeah, you're not slinging something with your hands. You're using a
Berry Blaster.
berry blaster. But right, it's still similar
Yeah.
concept of going past the screens. Yes, there will be some 3D elements to help with transitions and such, but it's still
And you
it's
have
not
that-
new for
You already have that in Pixar Pier, except
Yeah.
now you don't have to use
Yeah,
your
yeah.
hands.
I really wish that they would just stop opening these great grand lands without their e-ticket attraction. Like I mean, I get the financial reason why, but it gets people so riled up.
yeah. Just imagine if Galaxy's Edge actually worked out. Like the
Yeah.
Rise of the Resistance was working and open
open
with the
ready.
land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a completely different story
Like
right now.
I mean, I get it. I get there's financial reasons why you're not going to do that, but maybe you just, the thing about Universal is they don't announce too early. I mean,
Well,
they were building.
technically
They built VelociCoaster for like a year before they announced what it was, right?
they built VelociCoaster after Tron and Guardians had already broke ground, and it's
Yeah.
already open.
So maybe like keep quiet about your blue sky thinking for just a little bit until you start like actually building things, and then tell
But the
us
weird
about
thing
it.
for me too is that they doubled down on that and they actually built the facade for the ride ahead of actually building the ride, because they said that was going to be where the entrance would be. So it's just kind of weird to have like that whole building already set there.
They
And
can't
I
really
don't-
have nothing in there, though. That's something where I think they just needed. They'll have the silly, stupid stunt show stuff on it, but I think
yeah,
had
but
to have
they
something there.
did preface it to say that this would be where the ride would be,
Yeah.
and so it's just kind of weird to have that already built out and not really have
Especially when you know it's going to take them 3 or 4 years to build it.
And everyone's so convinced that it's canceled. Like, if it's not, tell us.
I feel like they can't cancel because I mean, if you listen to the speech last night, even like what's his name, the producer Kevin Feige. He even said like Avengers Campus is like
as long as there's imagination left.
Oh God, it's gonna keep growing and it's gonna keep growing and expanding.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not done. So I feel like Joel said, they need to announce that sooner than later because my worry is that people are gonna get in there and be like,
this is it.
Or at least just start constructing. I mean, I get the whole financial thing too, but couldn't they have used this time to maybe start to build?
even hint
reassure
at it.
us. Yeah. Hey, it's still
remember,
coming.
Because
remember when Guardians opened?
Don't worry, annual pass holders.
The little hatch in the ground.
Oh man!
By the extended queue. Yeah, like they need to do something like that. They need to give people the reason to like wonder like what is this for? Because remember we saw that and nobody knew what that was for, and then like a year later they announced like Avengers Campus is opening. They need to do something like that in this land where it gets the ball rolling. People start wondering like, is this going to be like, what is this going to happen? I think that would be something good to do.
Definitely. And I was going to also add, hey, I understand that this is a Marvel land that is shoehorned into a small section of a park that everyone's like, Marvel deserves better. And they do, but it's just not as easy to say. They just didn't have the land like they had for, let's say, Galaxy's Edge. And
we're the only park who can do this.
Yeah.
Disneyland is the only place we can do this right. I mean, in the United States, obviously.
Yes. So, again, I don't think they had anywhere else to put it except I'm happy they did not put it into the Hollywoodland area because of what their plans originally were with the Eastern Gateway, with the project of having the pedestrian bridge coming over Harbor Boulevard, the whole area over there. There's all these rumors and discussions saying, I think even in one of their presentations to the city, they talked about how they can expand DCA outward into the old tram loading area that's not really used anymore right now for Toy Story parking. But they were going to expand that area and they could do anything in that area. There's so much opportunity, and I'm happy that spot, even though right now it sucks. Like it's a weird area with Monsters Inc. back there and a defunct eatery and stage 12 or 17. So obviously it needs to be worked on, but I think there's even more opportunity for once they finally figure out what they can do for the Eastern Gateway, if they can do anything, or if not, but they can finally decide to pull the plug. No,
pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger on
my hope is for that, and this is like one of my little armchair imagineering things that I've always wished would happen. The Great Muppet Movie Ride, where it's the Great Movie Ride, but the Muppets are reenacting all the scenes from it because I want Muppets in the park again.
Isn't it like officially like something that they concepted, like they were going to do for Florida?
I feel like that would work so good now, especially if you use like weird, different types of humor, because humor is so much different now than
Yeah.
I feel like you can get some really like funny stuff in there.
I think it'll be hard to get that greenlit, but I agree.
And I just want the Muppets more.
I mean, just double down too on the whole Hollywood theme. Like, don't lose that aspect of it. I think
that's such a huge part of California. Like, if you need to keep California in the name, you've got to keep Hollywood in there somewhere.
What's tough here is that Hollywood section is so small.
It's
to be able
not
to give
done.
its justice. Yeah. Obviously, it's not well done. To do its justice now, with how much space they have, I mean, the walkable area is fine, but there's not enough space to build up behind it.
But they have those big show buildings that are just wasting away. Like,
yes.
I mean, PhilharMagic, we don't need. I mean, I'm glad it's there right now. But if they like come up with a better attraction, get PhilharMagic.
I mean, the Millionaire Show building is still there.
To Hollywood and Dine. Yeah, by all means, they can take the whole area out.
There could be something amazing there if they chose to.
Monsters.
Hey, and it's funny, they could close the whole area now and start working. Just close the whole area and wall it off, and no one would miss it.
No, I mean, I'd miss Monsters a little bit, but it's because I have a 5-year-old.
A little bit. Almost pretending I'm on Superstar Limo every time I go on it.
Can we get Superstar Limo returned to the airport?
What if you started off on Superstar Limo and then you drove your limo through Hollywood by the Muppets?
What if the paparazzi was
Superstar
chasing you?
Muppet limo.
And it was a roller coaster. So we're running a little long. I took it off for a second, but I did want to just throw in there real quick. Hey, it's exciting that they broke ground for Moana, The Journey to Water.
Surprising.
Journey of Water.
Literally cram
wait,
that in there.
There's a second page.
What?
Oh, there
I
is.
didn't realize there was a
I thought we
second
were at-
page to the notes.
Oh, wow.
Surprise. We're at the end though, so we're good.
Okay.
You just typed it this whole time.
Newsflash. But no, I'm excited, even though that it's not like anything to really get excited about. And I know a lot of people don't like the IPs going in. I get it 100%. I'm excited about having lush green areas within the center of the entrance to Epcot. I know we're totally jumping
water
nice.
subjects here, but
One continent, one side of the state to the other.
The country?
Country. Where are we? I don't know. Did you not know that Florida is like on the other, it's right next to
On the
Arizona.
other side of the state.
Yeah.
in the state of Orlando. No, it's really exciting to see because I am still worried with what they're going to do with the whole world celebration and the whole area, and how much of their original plans are really going to make it, especially since they got rid of that platform thing.
Hey, what if it comes out and they just still do it and we're like just completely floored that they still did it and we're like, wow, look, they actually followed through with something.
I'd be
Do
excited.
something already.
That's
Because they really haven't like. I mean, I've still seen
Done
concept
anything?
art that still has the thing in it. So
I don't really think of you as an optimistic person, but you know,
wow,
Wow.
jackass.
plus ultra over here. I'm just joking, but no. Yeah, hey, they could end up doing it, and I know they're releasing new stuff about the new store that's going in over there. That's it looks like they care with what they're doing. They understand the aesthetic that they're.
I feel like the only reason I'm being optimistic is because Epcot is my favorite park, and I saw the way it looks right now. Oh, by the way, let's bring it back
Need
just a little
help?
bit. You guys. The pictures of the Harmonious barges do not do it justice because in
Bad
person,
justice.
you were like in person. It's like, yikes.
Yeah.
Even my
knew it.
mother, never been to Florida in her entire life, walked through the International Gateway, got her first glimpse of the World Showcase Lagoon, and goes, well, that's not nice. I'm like, oh my God. You
With the
guys, come on.
off-centeredness.
Oh, and it's so noticeable too.
That's terrible.
Were they testing while you were there? Like, did you see the fountains going at all?
I saw water going all over the place.
Was it noisy? I feel like it might be noisy.
No,
is it?
I actually,
Okay.
believe it or not, though, I did not hear any of it. You
Okay,
don't
well,
hear it.
that
but
is a
it's-
nice thing.
But it
doesn't-
wasn't
you
full
didn't-
Unlike
fountain.
World of Color,
I don't
you-
think.
No, it
You
was
hear it.
just parts of the fountain, like the centerpiece that was going. And I didn't hear it, but I mean,
Oh, it's still ugly.
it's even when all the fountains. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be. I mean, obviously we don't know the final product, but just with the fountains they had kind of going, I was like, this doesn't look nice. It just looks like they're spraying water all over the place. It's like
It's like they're cooling it down.
No, it was like one of those like water wiggles that you put out in the yard, where it's just like.
Have they said an announcement as to when it's supposed to happen?
Opens a bag.
I'm assuming at least at some point after October 1st.
So on our trip,
That we won't be going to
After
Florida.
October. That's
We won't be
pretty
going to Disney
broad.
World.
well, maybe we could make. I mean, if it's open, we should definitely make a little side trip.
A one night
Just saying.
stand
A
at
one-night
Epcot.
stand. Yes, a one night stand at Epcot.
That sounds like a musical.
Well, either way, exciting stuff. And I think we are sounding more negative than we normally do. And for those that don't know us, hey, I think it'd be very easy for people that don't know me well on Twitter to, like, if you look at me like a year ago or 2 years ago, to call me like a pixie duster. Because, you know, I'm generally pretty positive, but it says a lot, I think, with how much we are talking about the issues that are occurring at Disney, just to show, like, hey, Disney,
We're anxious. You're scaring us.
step it up a little bit for us, please.
Get it together.
Because we do love you, and we are excited to see where things can go, and hopefully in a positive direction. and we're excited to return to some normalcy pretty quick here in the parks.
I'm excited to talk to you guys again soon about our trips, Derick and I, separate trips to Disneyland, because I think it's going to be exciting to talk about.
Be interesting.
And we'll see all you guys next week anyways, because we'll be at Knott's again.
After my trip to Disneyland.
Oh, that's right.
Look at us.
I know. Look.
Wow.
I'm going to hug you all again.
We didn't French kiss last time.
We did. This time.
We'll
Get
make
your
it
tongues
happen
ready.
this time. That's how I'm going to end it right there. Well, thanks for talking, random shit with me for this past hour plus to almost 2 hours. And for those listening, we do still intend to have regular shows that have subject matter besides us just bantering
The
about
shit.
Yeah.
We were long
about the last few weeks. But anyway, hey, until our next happy hour, when you aren't able to join us on Off Harbor in Maine, you can find us online. You can always find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our antics are the same there. It's simply at Off Harbor, and our personal handles are also available under the show notes. And also feel free to drop us a line via email at podcast@offharborinmaine.com. And always, please don't hesitate to leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcast. No, wait, seriously, if you're listening, leave us a rating.
Please.
We really would love it. A review. Honest feedback is fine. I'm not asking hey, give us a 5-star review. I mean, please, we would love that. But I'm not going to be pushing for people to give us something unauthentic. I just really want just more ratings on there, just to show that people are listening. It means a lot to us. So, but regardless, hey, thank you all so much for listening. And while no one knows for sure what we'll see or do, I do know it'll be quite an adventure. An adventure we will take and make together.
See you in the future.
On behalf of the birdies, flowers, and tikis here at Off Harbor and Maine.
Farewell and aloha to you.
Stay well and cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
There's
God,
anyone I hate more than Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Why?
What
Okay,
is
well,
wrong
one,
with
he's a
him?
freaking rapist and
He is?
molester.
He is?
Yes,
He
yes,
is?
yes. He is like a molester. Yes, he was arrested for it.
What? I had no idea. How have I not heard this?
I don't know. Plus, he's the worst actor I've ever seen in my whole life. Worse
no
than
idea he
Nicolas
has
Cage. Oh yeah,
history.
He was
It's not
good
that
in
bad.
radio.
no, he was.
That's what everybody hates him from.
No, I hate him from what's the one where they go on the cruise ship to meet
Yeah.
singles? But it's a
Harbor.
great. What's it called? What'd you say?
Pearl
Pearl
Harbor.
Harbor. Yes, I hate
He was
him
in
in
that.
Pearl Harbor.
The
When
crew
he
was in
was on a
that.
cruise ship for gay people.
Is it a cruise
He's a
ship for gay
sailor.
people?
Yeah, Pearl Harbor.
that's
you
right.
see it? It was
Oh,
called.
it kind of was. Sure,
called-
there's a few.
What was it called? Was it just cruise ship? Cruise.
Pearl
Booze
Harbor
cruise?
was the drag queen's name.
I know which one you're talking about, though.
Yeah, he played the worst drunk I've ever seen. Anyways,
It was
on
a
with the
stupid
show.
We're recording, yeah. Okay. I owe you.
As you gotta do the ones from SNL when she's like, Sally told the teacher that the teacher couldn't touch her.
Yeah, I probably couldn't say that right now. No.
He's already had a whiskey.
I'm a little buzzed.
You feel your
But
nose?
the preacher told the teacher that he simply couldn't reach her.
You're pretty good at this,
You gotta do it faster.
especially because you have
So-
an annual pass.
Yeah, exactly.
I said annual. In the group chat, he thinks I said anal pass.
Who did?
Derick.
Derek.
Said,
I just didn't
God.
enunciate enough, so I said
Derek's
anal
just
pass.
wishing and dreaming.
So
Wish upon a star.
We'll
Get
make
your
it
tongues
happen
ready.
this time. That's how I'm gonna end it right there. Get your tongues ready. And then we'll
Wetty?
go into
Wet tongues.
Wetty and
Get
ready.
your tongues wetty. Oh. Oh god. All right, let's get the outro. I gotta pee.
You got to outro your bladder.
I gotta outro my bladder.